Man, well, that was my favorite video, by the way. The car was cool, the clothes, and the models were not too bad either, were they? We welcome to the program now the host of Sports Talk Mississippi, Richard Cross. What about it there, Mr. Host?
It's like, what's the Sports Talk guy doing with Gerard, and what's he doing here tonight from 8 until 11 or so?
That's right.
Election day.
Yeah,
Excited
exactly.
to be here.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. 8 o'clock. We might not have the final results of some races at that point, but we'll have a lot of stuff to talk about by then.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the first hour tonight we'll kind of lay out the groundwork for what's going on and kind of recap the day that was. It sounds like most polling places, things are going smoothly.
Yeah.
We've gotten the benefit of outstanding weather, nothing like 80 degrees and sunshine in early November.
Absolutely.
I don't know what time we're living in, but that's that's where we are.
Golf, huh?
Yeah. We got a little bit of time between now and when Sports Talk starts this afternoon. But I mean, just so many of the races, there's not a lot of drama as to what the outcome is going to be. Obviously, the votes have to be cast and they've got to be counted, and good, solid, clean, fair elections in Mississippi. So we'll do it the right way. But it's the top of the ticket with the governor's race. And, you know, to me, you and I were talking a little bit in the break. There's a lot at stake here, obviously, for the state of Mississippi. And the thing that the governor has to get over, it's not his policies. It's not, you know, what he's accomplished in his first 4 years in office. It's, you know, will people be willing to pull the trigger for them? Do they like him enough to vote for him as governor? And, you know, for whatever reason, Tate Reeves is a guy that rubs a lot of people the wrong way, even people who are Republicans and agree with a lot of what he's accomplished. You know, has Brandon Presley done enough during this election cycle to sway people? He still has a D next to his name. Regardless of what his position on issues are, he still is a Democrat, and that bothers a lot of people. And then there's that third-party candidate that's not a candidate in Gwen Gray. And, you know, how many people are just going to – I think I heard Rhino earlier call it a protest vote, right? How many people are just going to say, I'm not voting for Brandon Presley, but I can't make myself vote for Tate, so there's this other box here, so I'm just going to check it.
Yeah.
And you've got the complications of could it go to a runoff if enough people do that. So I think it's really going to be fascinating to see.
It should be, and you're so right. I mean, historically, political scientists and others who pay a lot of attention to this say that people do vote emotion quite a bit, and there are a lot of different aspects of that figure into that, and maybe that sort of got its legs back in the Kennedy Nixon debate. Trying to think back on that, where isn't that right, Rhino? Where that just one candidate really came off on television. I believe it was the first televised presidential debate. And
before that, everybody just listened on the radio, right?
Yeah, I mean, for what that was worth, just like me and you on the radio. But the first televised black and white debate, and Mr. Kennedy just seemed to be more appealing to the voters, and Nixon wasn't. But that's always been the case. I don't know that it was wise of the governor to debate last week. It typically isn't for an incumbent. Honestly, they try to stay away from debates unless they feel like that they need it. And I don't know. You know, I'm not privy to who advises the governor there. I kind of thought the debate went fine. It's a lot easier, I would say, though, Richard, that when you're a candidate without a record, that's a lot easier than a candidate with a record. So you've got an incumbent and a challenger here.
There's no question. And the governor kind of pushed back doing a debate. I mean, Brandon Presley, as was the right political play, threw it out there. I'll debate anytime, anywhere. Let's do it 10 times between now and the general election. And obviously, a sitting governor, an incumbent, is not going to do that. But to me, that's the difference in the two candidates, right? I mean, Brandon Presley is telling you what he's going to do. Tate can tell you what he has done.
Yeah.
And frankly, his accomplishments are pretty good. And I'll be honest, Gerard, I think one thing that the Reeves campaign has not done enough of in this cycle is remind people of how the pandemic was handled in the state of Mississippi. Because whether you like Tate Reeves or not, I think the way that he managed that situation in Mississippi, and there are probably some do-overs that he would like. He might would have if he could do it all over again, be even a little bit more forceful than he was. But in terms of, states where there was strong leadership that pushed back on some of the mandates that were coming down from the federal way, or the way that states that were led by Democrat governors led, I think he did a pretty good job. And we got back to work and school and normal activities and church services and ball games a whole lot faster than most places did.
Yeah.
And I think they should have been trumpeting that more maybe than they have along the way. And, teacher pay raise, was it enough? Well, whether or not it was enough or not, it was a raise. And so that was action when in the past there had been talk about it as opposed to inaction. I think there's a lot of positive for Tate Reeves to stand on. I think he would be in a better position if he was more eloquently able to demonstrate some of those positions that he's had and some of the accomplishments. It's like just saying this is what we've done is one thing, but couching it in a way where it's palatable to people is a different thing. And I mean, there's no better example than Governor Haley Barbour, right? I mean, whatever he was serving, people were just lapping it up with a spoon and a fork and a knife and licking their plate when they were done. He does not have that same level of connectivity with
really good at that.
The people in Mississippi.
Haley was. I would say Governor Phil Bryant was pretty good at that as well. Although the Governor Tate Reeves, if you want to dig into really complex policy and make heads or tails of that, and I think make the right call from a conservative perspective, I don't know that there's anybody better at that than him.
Well,
honestly.
And to use the word we were using a second ago, there's not a debate. I mean, if conservative policy is what you're looking for,
That's
then
true.
Tate Reeves is the answer, period. Whether you like the guy or not, whether you like how he sounds or how he dresses or what he looks like or any of those things, you set all that stuff aside. If it's just about policy and whether or not you think conservative leadership is important for Mississippi, then Tate's the answer. But for a lot of people, that's not necessarily what they're looking for.
Well, and something that he's boasted about, and rightfully he should, was the amount of economic investment that occurred under his watch. And, he made the point that there's more coming, that he's focused on that. And I guess as a conservative, I happen to think that's the most important aspect.
Well, and as a former business owner also, right?
I mean, that's influencing me, of course.
You look at neighboring states. Alabama has done a great job.
Sure have.
Inviting companies to make the state of Alabama their home, whether you're talking about, all of the I want to say technical stuff, but that's not the right way to describe it in Huntsville. Which
technology, defense technology in particular, they're really strong. It's become a hub for that.
It has, and Birmingham is growing like crazy, and all over the state of Alabama. I just hope that the message to companies that are looking to relocate is that we are open for business. We've got a willing and an able workforce, and this is a place where you'll be good, because that's how we continue to grow, right? I mean,
no doubt.
Some of the strides that we've seen over the last decade to 15 years in Mississippi, and they've been incremental steps, but I think at their core it's based on business development in the state.
Well, the way I describe it is that the governor is focused on expanding the economic pie, and Mr. Presley, which I think is consistent with Republicans and Democrats on a national scale, Mr. Presley's more concerned about recutting the pie as opposed to expanding the pie.
I think that's fair.
That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
And it's the same kind of messaging we get again at the national level from Democrats. It's all about how can we recut the pie as opposed to how can we expand it.
And generally speaking with Democrats, they're like, hey, just give us a chance. We can do it better than it can be done privately. Except there's about, 300 years of evidence right here in the United States that says, actually, no, you can't do it privately. It's just
Very true. So I like to describe it. It's like the private sector is encroaching on their gig. No, that's for us. That's our purview. Yeah. That's what we do. Yeah. And they derive power out of that as well. So,
but tonight's going to be a lot of fun. We got a bunch of guests that are coming in. We're going to check in with all the parts of the state of Mississippi and kind of get reaction from throughout the day, and hopefully have some results. Hopefully by 10:30, 11 o'clock, we will be able to put a bow on this and everybody go home and know what tomorrow's going to look like. Yeah, absolutely. Do you have a prediction before we go? Or for the governor's race? I mean, I think when it's all said and done that ultimately Tate Reeves will be the governor again, and that will be decided now. But I'm not going to be surprised if this thing ends in a runoff. And if it goes to a runoff, all bets are off then.
how much money might pour into media if there's a runoff, and it's 3 weeks because it's on the 28th.
Yeah, so another, $10 million?
At least.
Maybe $10 million per candidate?
Yeah.
It's a lot of money in a short amount of time.
Wow. All right. Well, good luck tonight. I know you guys will do fantastic, and we appreciate you coming in and giving us a preview. Thank you, Richard.
Always good to see you.
Yeah, man. We're coming right back, folks, with a final segment on middays. We're in the Element Wealth